Councillor Partridge.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just to fill in time, perhaps I could just say a few words with regards to the Millgrove students that are going to be presenting to us. I know, Mr. Mayor, you had certainly attended the school a couple of weeks ago and had met with the students and had the pleasure of seeing their presentation. And I've been attending at the school a couple of times over the last 2 weeks, first to hear their presentation, and the second time to really talk about what were some of the other agencies that they could tap into to have a conversation with, and one of them certainly was Hamilton Food Share. So it looks like we're at that point now of doing the presentation, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome the Millgrove students here. You folks rock. You work so very hard, and my council colleagues will be able to see that with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, and let me add, you know, I saw such a spectacular presentation a few weeks ago that I said, you know what, the rest of the Board of Health and Council needs to hear this, and want to commend Jennifer Kershaw and her great leadership and the passionate students that made a brilliant presentation. I'm sure they're going to do it again today. So, students, the floor is yours.
Hello, Mr. Chair and councillors. We are here to tell you about the Millgrove Taste the Future project. What's the problem? 18% of Hamilton lives in poverty. That's about 96,000 of us that need help getting food on the table. Some food banks only allow people to come once a month because they don't have enough donations to let them come more often. The food banks only get 10% fresh fruit and veg, 12% bread, 2% dairy, 1% meat and eggs, 65% non-perishables, and 10% other things, such as pet food. A grocery store throws out 30 to 45 large bins of perfectly edible food each week, and all these people need help getting food. Why can't that food go on their tables, not in the landfill? What happens to food in the landfill? Methane gas goes into the air we breathe, and toxic leachate absorbs into the groundwater. The best before date is not the expiry date. It's just a guideline. We did an experiment, and we brought in foods past the best before date and watched them. They were still perfectly good to eat. What's our big idea? Our plan for Hamilton was for Hamilton to put trucks on the road and take food from the grocery stores and deliver it to the food banks. And the food banks can help poor people in need of food.
So I'm Elena, and I'm going to be talking about our business plan. And in our research, we found the City of Hamilton's priorities, and our project would apply to 4 of them. Community engagement and participation. Our project would empower all citizens, especially those trying to get back on their feet, and it would drive them to be more active citizens in our city. Economic prosperity and growth. When all Hamiltonians have enough food to eat, they can save their money for other essentials such as shelter and clothing. Healthy and safe communities. This project would give more opportunities for fresh food in the food banks, which means that there's more chance that people can have a healthy diet that matches up to the Canada Food Guide. Clean and green. Our project would divert food from the landfills so it wouldn't have a chance to create greenhouse gas emissions. We also found Hamilton's food strategy plan 4 goals. Number 1 was to access to healthy food for all. By bringing more food to the food banks, it means that more people has access to it. promote healthy eating and healthy food knowledge for all. If not everyone has enough healthy food, how are we supposed to teach healthy food knowledge? Eat and grow local food. We know that community gardens help people, but it doesn't provide enough food to feed all of the hungry people in our city. We found a new food resource in grocery store garbage. Healthy, sustainable, and fair ways to handle food with partners at all levels of government. Our plan would ensure grocers that food is being handled safely by training people at the food banks to handle short-dated food. So it would make grocery stores more comfortable with donating it. But we're missing something big. What about food recovery and waste diversion? They're problems and we need to deal with them. So what are our expected outcomes? After my friends and I came up with this idea, we started our research. And in our research, we found the Montreal Supermarket Recovery Program, and we used it as our model to study. The Montreal Supermarket Recovery Program, or SRP, was very successful, so they expanded it to the province of Quebec. And just this past March, the province of British Columbia has started doing this. And right now, the province of Ontario has $600,000 designated to this program. So we want the city of Hamilton to be next. We can predict that there will be a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. We think we can reduce greenhouse gases by 3,000 tons each year. That's the same as taking 650 cars off the road. We think that we can recover large amounts of food. We think that we can recover 3.8 million kilograms of food each year, which is an enormous amount that could be feeding the 96,000 hungry people in our city. We think we can create jobs in Hamilton because we would need people to handle the short-dated food at the food banks, and we would need people to load and unload the food, and we would need people to drive the trucks. And the extraordinary thing they found in Montreal was that less people fell into poverty because they weren't worrying about getting food, but they were saving their money so they could keep their home and get clothes on their backs. So how are we going to fund this? So we think money from the waste management budget, because waste diversion does fall under that topic. And community and business donors, which is where most of the Montreal pilot project's money came from, just people who heard about it and supported it. And grants. We found all sorts of action plans that support projects just like ours. And we now have the Ontario budget, $600,000 for the SRP, the Green Municipal Fund, which funds projects which will make our city greener, the OAFB capacity building, which helps food banks get the space that they need to handle all of this fresh produce. The Recycling Council of Ontario, which helps get wasted products back into the circular economy. And we'd be taking food that's wasted and putting it back into the circular economy. And the Hamilton Future Fund, which funds projects that will make Hamilton's future and present a better place to live. And the Hamilton Community Foundation, which will make our communities a better place to live. So, who supports this? Federal and provincial government. We know that climate change and building a circular economy has been talked about. And if we did this project, then we would get one step closer to helping climate change and one step closer to building a circular economy. The City of Hamilton. We know our vision statement and we know our mission statement, and it matches up to our project. The food banks. Their goal is to get food for people who need it, and this project would get food for those people. And the citizens. We started a petition, and we had over 1,000 signatures by the time. Now we have 1,400 signatures. By the time that the mayor came to our school. And Retail Council of Canada represents 97% of our grocery stores and supermarkets. And a quote was that As long as the food can be donated, there's no reason it shouldn't be. So what are our next steps? So we need to amend the food strategy plan so that it includes a plan for food waste and diversion from retail. We need to help create partners between stores and food banks, otherwise how is this going to happen? We need to get a campaign that teaches people about best before dates. We need training for food bank staff so that they can properly handle short-dated food. And we need money, maybe another truck and people power. Thank you for your time. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you. You know what, I don't know about the rest of the members of council, but have you? I don't know about the rest of the members of council, the people here, I'm sure they're proud parents, but wasn't that a fantastic presentation? And not only well presented, but they have a business plan to boot. How much better does it get? So I'm amazed. You guys are, for all the right reasons, you're here, I think, presenting something that's very important in our community, and we thank you for that. Questions specifically of the presenters? Councillor Partridge.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you so much for coming in, Jennifer, and all the students. But Mike, I have a couple of questions, Mr. Mayor, and the first one is, with the two of you, were there other students that helped you on this project?
Yes, I'd like to welcome them all.
Why don't they all stand
Excuse
up?
me.
They were part
Yeah.
of the presentation there.
Yeah.
Please stand up.
Thank you very much, and I'm just so darn proud to be your counselor and to see you in here today presenting. And I'd really like all counselors to listen to the conversation going on. It's just so very important what these students have done. So a couple more quick questions. Can you tell me, in your research, you talked to different food banks. Can you name some of them?
We talked to the Neighbor to Neighbor Center,
Right.
and we talked to Hamilton Food Share, which
Right.
led us on a great path.
And I was,
And the Flamborough and Waterdown food banks,
yes?
it was very good. And
Some grocery stores as well, I understand.
yes,
Yeah.
we talked to farmers, grocery stores, and other, like, restaurants. A lot of places that food could be wasted in.
Right. Excellent. Councillor Partridge.
Yeah, and thank you so much. It's really the research that you've done, and I want to commend you and the other students up there as well. How long have you been working on this project?
6 months.
Good.
And it was 6 months of good research. You talked to a lot of people, including the Flamborough Food Bank and the Waterdown Food Bank. And I was very honored to be present the day that they met with Hamilton Food Share last week and had a very, very good conversation. And I don't have any more questions, but perhaps others might. But I want to thank Jennifer very much for all her work. And the principal of the school is here as well. And put your hand up, wave to everybody. Yeah, thank you so much.
Well done. Thank you. Councillor Green.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and it's often the case when we have such incredibly talented and confident young people at council, I always ask them the following questions. So I'm going to ask both the presenters and the students present, have any of you ever considered running for office in your future?
No.
Do we have hands? I saw the bow tie. I thought maybe... And hands up if you ever considered being a politician. Amazing. Excellent. The young lady too. I asked that question, Mr. Mayor, because we have the privilege at this table for the Board of Public Health, but also on all of the issues that are going to affect your generation. Those decisions are made here. And so I ask you guys at this stage in life to think about being a part of government so you can bring your incredible ideas and wonderful talent to government to be able to solve these problems. So if you haven't thought about it before, to the little girl and little boy who thought they might be elected officials or maybe be public health professionals or anything here in the city, we'd love to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brenda Johnson.
Yep, thank you, and thank you very much for the presentation. It really, really was excellent. My question to you is, you said you talked to restaurants, you said you talked to some grocery stores. Did they ever tell you why they're not doing it now?
Yes, because they always thought that they couldn't donate, but they didn't know that there's a law called the Good Samaritan Law. So even if you do donate and they get sick, if you're meaning to do a good thing, you don't get hurt.
That is amazing. So did you tell these people that you met with about this Good Samaritan law?
Yes.
And what was their response? Did they say, oh, good, now I can donate?
Well, they are not that happy about it because if you think about it, why would they want to get their own trucks? They think they have to get the trucks, but they don't.
So they're more worried about how they're going to get the food there. They probably don't have a problem with donating, they just can't get the food there.
Yeah, because they have to get more money from their customers to pay the people there.
Okay.
They don't have that money to.
And did you get the same response from the restaurants? Like, I believe Tim Hortons throws all their baked goods out at the end of the day. Did you talk to?
Well, yes.
Yes.
But Tim Hortons isn't actually that bad. Every Christmas, they give all their food to women's shelter.
Yeah. They're very good. You're right.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if they knew of this program to do this every day, all the stuff that they usually throw in the green bin.
Well,
they don't have
some
green bins.
recycle it, some feed it, some give it to the zoos.
Okay.
They get rid of it in ways that are responsible, but some don't.
Can you let Elena answer now? Yeah, go ahead, Elena. Which one? The grocery stores.
We're waiting. They're getting queued.
There's another thought.
Okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
Hun.
So one of the reasons that grocery stores aren't donating right now is because they're worried about donating their short-dated food because they're worried that at the food banks, it's not going to get handled properly and someone could get sick.
Okay, thank you. And thanks again for your excellent presentation and all the research you've done on it. You really sound well informed. And thank you to all your support system up there that helped with you as well, including your mom. And thank you for the teacher. That was just amazing.
Thank you, Councillor. I've got Councillor Whitehead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am very thoroughly impressed. The children today are leaders of tomorrow. And I want to also reflect that it takes a good team to understand all the issues and 6 months of research and study. I want to thank the education system, the teachers and administration who helped facilitate this. And I got to think there's no prouder moment than not only the teachers, but the parents that are here today and those that aren't here, to hear such a very comprehensive presentation that hits on all the major principles and points. So I want to just thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Accolades all around. Okay, you guys just embrace all of that. Councillor Pearson.
Mr. Mayor, yes, thank you. And certainly I will echo all the positive comments. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm so impressed by all of you. And, you know, it's great when you start at this age because you've certainly had something tweak inside you, not only in your head, but in your heart of what can be done out in the community. But what really amazed me and what you mentioned in your presentation, and I just want to ask if you plan on carrying it further, is the fact that products that have best before dates does not mean that it's no longer good at that date. So what was the sort of the feedback that you got from, say, Food Share and some of the food banks that you visited? Because I have concerns that they believe best before dates, they actually do put that product in the waste. So maybe could you enlighten on what was Food Share's opinion of that?
About what Food Share said when they came to meet with us, how they have the trucks and they have everything.
So when Food Share came to meet with us, they told us that they actually have everything that they need to put this program in place, like the trucks, and they have the refrigerators and the warehouse.
So they're supportive of keeping products past the best before date,
Yes.
as long as the product is evident that it's still in good condition, correct?
Tell me about the training, how they want training.
And they also want people to be trained to handle the short-dated food so that it can be handled properly.
wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm hopefully encouraging that you can carry this information forward and that you involve more food banks and get your message out there even broader. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you know what, but while you're still here, so maybe I could turn to our staff for a second and just ask, I know that we're food strategy studies coming up, I think in December. This is certainly an initiative that's worthy of not only exploration but implementation, I would think. But anyone can speak to kind of where the food strategy research is and what we can expect this to actually go to then as part of the review?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for the question, and thank you to the presenters this afternoon. I'm a little ahead of myself. Yes, you're absolutely right. We can reflect that in the report that will come forward in December as part of the overall food strategy. We've had some initial discussions about the information being presented here, and we'll happily incorporate it in the review.
Great, thank you. Councillor Partridge, follow on that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I would like to move a motion when appropriate to refer the presentation and the suggestions to our staff to be considered and included in the food strategy coming forward in December.
Okay, thank you. Moved by yourself, seconded by Councillor Whitehead. You have a thought?
Yeah, just a thought, and as we do that, and because closure is always a great thing, whatever comes out of the future reports, the food strategy, and certainly with the consideration of what we hear today, I hope that we can close the loop with the teachers and the students at the particular school to understand the final decisions of council. Thank you.
Thank you. We will absolutely do that. You'll be the first to know that hopefully that we can say, yes, we've got a program in place and we're going to follow up with these good ideas and put them into practice. I think that's the objective here. So thank you, all of the students up there and parents for coming out today. Teacher Jennifer, and your passion for this and your guidance. This is I think a real demonstration of how everyone can make a difference in this world, and you're doing that here today. So thank you so very much, and we will get back to you shortly and let you know what next steps are. All right. Thank you. Bravo. Thought they were going to take a bow there for a second. I think that's a good thing. All right, we have a couple of consent items and then a couple of delegations. So if I could kind of work our way through, we approve the delegations, we work our way through the consent items. So the first one is 5.1. If there's no questions or comments, a mover. And a seconder, moved by Johnson, second by Connolly. All in favor? Carried. On 5.2, Bill C-37, supervised injection sites, a follow-up report on next steps. Any comments? Councillor Pearson, move it. Seconded by Councillor Collins. All in favor? Carried. And a final one, 5.3, Families First pilot in Hamilton. Report is there. Any comments or questions? If not, a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Farr, seconded by Councillor Whitehead. All in favor? Carried. Now we have heard one public delegation. We're going to hear now the delegation regarding the Canadian Cancer Society respecting the reduction of sugary drink consumption through municipal policies. And again, thanks.